I have to make a decision about Duolingo. I like Duolingo. It has helped me learn Danish because I want to speak Danish to Danish girlfriends' parents. Here's the thing about Duolingo. I have finished its course, and they only are giving me refresher courses which recycle the same sentences, same sayings, every 3 to 4 days, which would be fine if I thought that they were useful sentences. But I have to say, there are ones that might not suit me well in talking to Danish people. For example, the Vikings wanted to have the prettiest beards. So the Vikings wanted to have the prettiest beards. Now, I'm going to assume that that's true. I don't know what kind of archaeological, anthropological dig they went through to figure this out. But certainly, beards are very popular today. And I had a beard about 3 or 4 years ago. Danish girlfriend did not like it. And people, men, apropos of nothing, who I did not know, would come up and say, "Nice beard." And they say, "How do you keep it?" And they gave me tips. And there's a big community about people who like to have the prettiest beards. So maybe it's true. I don't know. They probably should substitute something besides Vikings. Or this phrase, "There are no elephants in Denmark." Wow, that is a news headline. Now, here's another thing about Duolingo. They often like to talk about elephants, like elefanten spiser gras. The elephant eats grass. And I know a lot about that, horses and the elephants. But do they have to remind me that there are no elephants in Denmark? And if I say this to someone, they go, "Okay, what tour guide book did you get that out of from?" And here's another one. Warriors fight for their family. Warriors fight for their family. Well, warriors didn't fight for their family. They fought for money and pillage and treasures, and they gave it to their family. Now, it's an interesting thing because everyone rationalizes pretty much everything they do by saying, "Well, it's for my family. I work for a company that does horrible things, but I make the money so that my family can eat. It's all for the family." Now, I don't know what to... Also, there's some phrases that Duolingo will just... If I said in Denmark, they would probably just look to me and think, "This guy's kind of new age, crazy, crunchy granola." For instance, "I cannot come because I have a bad day." Yeah, so you had a bad day. That's going to stop you from doing anything? Not in Denmark. Denmark, people are stoic and determined, and they don't let a bad day get in the way. So I'm not going to let a bad day get in my way. But if I said this, the Danish people would say, "This guy shouldn't be in Denmark." Here's another one. "Has she won or lost in the game of life?" Well, that's a very judgmental thing to ask. It's very crazy. And how do you know what wins or loses in life? Some people have different moral desires and emotional needs, and maybe if you think they lost, maybe they think they won, and maybe they think you lost. So who's to say? And what do these people say? What does it matter to you if she won or lost the game of life? Now, the game of life is actually a game of life, and I both won and lost the board game of life. But as for life, remember, it ain't over until the fat lady sings or until you breathe your last breath, and you may not have had a very good thing. But like in Hollywood, if the movie ends well, people will like it. Here's another phrase. "Are you also sad?" If I came to someone and I said, "Are you also sad?" they'd look at me like I'm nuts. Why? Because why are you sad? And why do you assume that I'm sad? If someone is sad, do they assume everyone else is sad? No, that would not go over well. And you know what? I would probably have to leave Denmark at that point. Now, because I think, they have a passport control in the airport, but they probably have an emotional and language control somewhere, and they would just, if I said something like that, they'd tap me on my shoulder and say, "Buddy, it's time for you to go back to the United States." Now, there's some that would just make me very aggressive. Here's one, for example. "I often get bad answers from you." Well, where am I going to use that? Say I'm at work, and I'm talking to a colleague, and I say, "I often get bad answers from you." The guy would say, "Are you nuts?" And I'd probably get fired. And I certainly wouldn't be on good things if I said something like this. That is a really bad idea. Now, this is where your mother says, if you don't have something good to say, don't say something at all. Don't tell someone that is a really bad idea. Just, if it really is a bad idea, just go, that's interesting. That's what they do in the United States. That's interesting. And then you just ignore it and you move along. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Who would say something like that? Am I going to go up to someone on the street and say, are you crazy? No, because if I say, are you crazy? They are going to say, are you crazy? They're going to say, you are crazy. Now, I have to say, all these expressions would probably not do me well in Denmark. So you're asking yourself, well, why are you going to continue with Duolingo if they start pushing this kind of stuff so that these are your automatic responses to things? Well, the truth is, Duolingo has helped me make a habit of learning some Danish every day. And that is, in fact, probably one of the most important things, because as they talk about the ability to play quarterback in the National Football League, the best ability is availability. So maybe Duolingo, just for the fact that you keep my mind thinking Danish thoughts and wanting to improve my Danish language, I should keep you. But I'm going to have a little soul searching, because maybe I'm going to say to myself, are you crazy? And also, there is one last thing. This is the sentiment that Duolingo even tells me. Will the Danish language help you, me, in the future? So, will the Danish language help me in my life? Well, if it helps me communicate with Danish girlfriends, parents, and get around Denmark a little more, then it does. So maybe Duolingo and Duo the Owl has a point. Thank you kindly.